Hey YouTube, welcome back. My name is Chris, and in this video I'm going to be sharing some thoughts and ideas on how to stop hemorrhoidal bleeding. I had bleeding from the internal hemorrhoids prior to my surgery for about a good 6 months, and I want to share some ideas that will hopefully help you in the process of trying to make the bleeding stop. So if you have a weak stomach, just be cautioned. I'm going to be going over a lot of graphic details in this video. So let's go ahead and get started. So let me share my experience with you guys of how I stopped the bleeding in my situation. My story is that I had grade 4 internal hemorrhoids that were prolapsed. I had a thrombosed one right by the entrance. And in every bowel movement I would have in the morning, I was literally a bloody mess. I really didn't get bad until the last 6 months prior to my procedure this past December 1st. And it was scary. I will just blatantly admit it. It was real scary at first. You know, you go to the bathroom and boom, there it is. And you're like, oh my goodness, what just happened? You know, am I going to die? And, you know, you're there and you got to figure out how to stop the bleeding. And then another day goes by, you don't bleed, then it happens again. And it's just something that drives you insane. And in my situation, because they were prolapsed, you know, it was a painful experience. They'd have to be pushed back every time I had a bowel movement. Not fun at all, guys. Not fun at all. But in the process of searching just about everything I could think of, and you know, we all go searching around for what works and what doesn't work, right? I found a few things that actually did bring me and provide me some relief in the mornings, and I'm going to tell you what they were. So one of the first things I went out and did was I went out and bought a bidet hose. So these are little hoses that you attach to the water line next to the toilet right there, and they just spray cold water. That's all they do. You can find them on Amazon. I'll put the link down there to the one I bought on Amazon, or you can go to the local hardware store and buy one. You can pretty much get them anywhere, but they work really good because rather than wiping with anything, which irritates the area a lot more, the hose would actually bring me relief because you're spraying cold water. Think about that. You just got to adjust the knob so that you don't spray so much that the pressure ends up hurting you. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Little tech tip right there. So adjust the water pressure just enough where it's gentle, and as soon as the water hits the area, it brings immediate relief because the water is cold. And for me, it got rid of the bleeding for some reason. If you've ever cut your finger and you stick it under cold water, you'll know exactly what I mean. It just somehow stops the bleeding right away, right? And that's exactly what happens with your hemorrhoids too. When you spray water down there, it'll alleviate the bleeding. My situation is that when I was sitting on the toilet, I can actually hear the blood squirting out. It was almost like I was hearing sort of like just water leaking, just this sound like that. And I'm like sitting there going like, what the heck is that? And I'd look down and it was just a complete pile of blood. It was bad. Yeah, real bad. And so you have to sit there and just kind of wait it out a little bit. Wait till that pressure kind of eases off a little bit, and then wash down there with the hose, okay? Rinse it out for a good 5, maybe 10 minutes, and the water will just kind of cool off the area, and you'll notice that, you know, blood will, you know, stop gradually. And when that happens, then the next thing you do is you want to apply some pressure with these type of Huggy wipes that contain aloe and vitamin E, which are very sensitive to the area right there. These are very, very good as well. Just apply pressure right there because chances are you're bleeding because you have prolapsed hemorrhoids. And what I would notice is that when I would apply these wipes, right here, they sell them anywhere. When I would apply these wipes, I would sometimes see pieces of veins stuck to the wipes, either very thin or sometimes a little bit thick. So what happens is that the hemorrhoid inside is being held by just kind of like a branch of, pretend this is the hemorrhoid right here. It's kind of being held by a branch of veins like that. And sometimes when one of those veins breaks off because it becomes weak, you experience bleeding. That's what's happening right there. You're not going to die. Okay, let me just say that you're not going to die. But when the vein breaks off and you put a wipe down there, you just kind of move it a little bit like that. You'll notice it on the wipe if it hasn't been already washed off with the water through the bidet hose. So I would notice that quite often, that little pieces of vein were coming out right there. So of course that freaked me out because I'm like, wow, is this a sign of a deeper issue? And no, it wasn't. It was just little veins that are holding hemorrhoid together coming apart, as part of the healing process. And you just had to deal with the inconvenience of, having the vein burst and all the blood, of course, in your stool, which freaks anybody out. You will feel a little nauseous sometimes. There were a few instances where I kind of felt real lightheaded after the episode. On days like that, I would eat a steak, to recover some of the blood I had lost and to regain my strength. And of course, you take a Miralax because you don't want to eat a steak and then have a real heavy bowel movement and bleed again the next day. So, after you eat a steak, it's all right to take Miralax just to soften your stool upon evacuation. So that's important. So yeah. Also, once you apply pressure with the wipes, then the next thing you can do to cleanse the area is try some of this relief spray right here. When you can buy this at Walmart as well, a couple bucks. When you spray this bad boy, it automatically, when it touches your skin, you have a cold sensation. So it sprays on cold, and that's really good because the hemorrhoid right away responds to this, and you're like, wow, it feels nice and cool down there, right? And it stops the bleeding. I noticed that this was really good at providing some relief for the bleeding, as well as the burning sensation and anything else that you might feel. Spray the area really good. You may have to spray it 2 or 3 times with this, okay? And once I would spray this and let it sit for maybe a couple minutes, I'd put some of this like bee wax on the roid that was prolapsed, and I'd push it back in. And that would generally stop the bleeding for me right there, allow me to get in the shower, clean up, and move on with my day. It's a simple process, guys. It's not complicated. Your situation might be different than mine, but there's no magic solution to stopping the bleeding other than getting surgery and having the procedure done. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen my video on how I completely got rid of my hemorrhoids, the link is right here above. You can watch that. I used a procedure that involved no cutting whatsoever, but it was only during the last 6 months of my journey that I had bleeding and severe discomfort that caused me to go out and seek professional treatment to finally eradicate the problem. So if you're suffering from bleeding, this is a very simple solution that worked for me, and I hope it works for you as well. You may come up with other things that are more novel than this, and I welcome them in the comment section below. So for now, guys, that's all I've got for you. Thanks again for watching.